Let's move on to our next topic. And we have a third guest joining us this morning, Dr. Samuel Efuye. He's a political and economics analyst. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. I hope you're well.
Yeah, good morning, my dear Bella.
Thank you so much.
Good morning to Honorable Tumini and also Solomon Owusu.
All right. Well, we're moving into our second topic now, and that's on the back of the finance minister yesterday apologizing to Ghanaians to forgive the NPP for bringing upon them domestic debt exchange program and all the untold hardship that we've experienced in the last number of years. In fact, he says that if you deduce from what he's saying, it's really not the fault of the NPP that domestic debt exchange program came. They didn't have a choice. The IMF insisted that it was one of the requirements if they wanted some funding from them. But regardless, he says, forgive the NPP. How do you process this information?
Yes, thank you. Listen to the Honorable Minister for Finance and the apology. I don't know what kind of description that we can give to the apology, whether it's a remorse apology, whether it's a regret apology or IMF apology in any way. It seems that even the justification of the apology, which is based on IMF condition, is something that we cannot delink from whatever he's saying. In an apology, when you come up with an apology, especially the remorse one, is when you tend to realize that your actions has made a negative effect on people or some group of people. So you come out to ask for forgiveness or you ask for an apology. But as he explained, he tends to justify why it happened. And what happened for us to go to the IMF is also an issue. That was what happened. What happened for us to go to the IMF? It was due to debt. So if debt led us to, for us to, and as we were going for the IMF, we had these conditions. And these conditions is what is making our domestic debt issue becoming so hard on the citizens and those who have invested. And seriously, I didn't know when that this apology, because I remember, I think 2022, the then minister also apologized to Ghanaians, I think in Parliament, of the hardship. He was talking about the hardship in general.
Yeah.
But the current minister is pressing on the debt, domestic debt, that is having an effect. And you know, Bella, the effect of these things that has happened to most of our, especially the retirees, you know, and that has been a serious effect. Maybe some people might have died from these kind of effect, or let's say the issue. And now apologizing in some way. And I think that it's hard time our leaders that we have been giving them the responsibility tend to explain things and makes the necessary adjustment rather than trying to ask for forgiveness and apology at the end of the day, which might not, if there's a matter of death, we cannot bring those people that are dead back to life. And that is what we are looking at. And that's what I'm saying. I don't know whether it's an economic apology or it is a, what do we call it, a remorse apology. And that should be one thing that we need to look at.
You don't sense it that this is genuine?
And the genuineness could have been earlier, you know, the genuineness. You know, the apology stemmed from a lot of conditions and a lot of issues. And I think some few days back, you can realize that Honorable Kweku Kwarteng make a statement.
Yeah.
And also the Honorable Kenneth Japon, I think it's about this weekend that he made some kind of admissions that the MPP are supposed to apologize.
Yeah.
Yes, to the past. And I think this could have been done. And I think now going for the elections, there's no need for justifications and explanation. Whatever has happened till now, it behoves on the current government to accept it and apologize and explain to people why these things happen. And that is what I think Ken and Honorable Kweku Kwarteng has realized, that I think it's getting too late and they have to take the humble pie.
All right. Kindly hold on for me. Let me come to Solomon. Will this apology make any difference, really?
First of all, what is he apologizing for? I mean, to apologize is to admit that you have done something wrong. You have committed a crime. So he should do us the good honest by explaining to us the extent to which they have committed crime against this country. And Bella, the truth of the matter is that when you go and commit a crime, say when you go and steal, and you go to court and apologize, it does not lie in you apologizing your mouth to say that once I've apologized, you must be let go of the hook. So now that they have apologized, it is for the good people of this country to pronounce the punishment for the apology. Because when you commit a crime, you have to be punished for that. What is the punishment for committing crime in this instance?
Why do you describe this as crime?
It's a crime. But why is he apologizing?
For the domestic debt exchange?
Not just the domestic debt exchange.
Okay.
The actions and inactions of the former finance minister together with the head of the economic management team, Dr. Bawumia, and the governor of the Bank of Ghana is what is on trial here.
Okay.
Now, as a result of their actions and inactions, close to 1 million people are poor in Ashanti region. Close to 900,000 people are poor in the northern region. The domestic debt exchange program that he was referring to has led to a lot of our pensioners who willingly loan their monies to the government dead. So are you apologizing? And after apologizing, go and sit down or what? I believe after apologizing, he should have told the whole country that because of this, our government is going out of power. Clearly, he has given up. And he was not put there as a finance minister to be apologizing. In the first instance, during the mid-year budget review, he came to do what? Empathize and sympathize with this. Mr. Finance Minister, for Christ's sake, you were not put there to empathize and sympathize with the Ghanaians. Neither are you there to apologize. You are there to fix the mess.
But he says he's fixing it. But in the meantime...
What are we fixing?
In the meantime, in fact, you've heard some government officials even give him that accolade, that he's done quite a good job so far.
No, what has he done? First of all, he is praising himself for the fact that he has been able to reduce inflation from 54% to 22.8%. Who took us to 54%? It's not the same government.
Okay.
You took over from a government that was doing inflation at 17.4% and meticulously took us to 54%. So for you to praise yourself, it means you must bring inflation below 17%. For us to say that you have done better than the previous government. As of the time we were taking over, policy rate was at 25%. As we speak, policy rate is at 29%. At the time we were taking over, the cedi to the dollar was 1:4.2. As we speak, it's 1 to almost 16 cedis. At the time we were taking over, a gallon of diesel was going around 14 cedis. As we speak, it is nearing 90 cedis. So what are you, as it were, praising yourself with? And let me say that, you see, the finance minister must know that people are suffering. Indeed, there is extreme hardship in the system. So if you have seen, and I call this the Kwaku Kwarteng's model of campaigning, they are not remorseful in this whole thing. It's a deliberate strategy just to win your minds and hearts so that you go and vote for the New Patriotic Party, which must be resisted. Why am I saying so? You are attributing these whole problems to the IMF. Is that the case?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Now, let's go into the staff level agreement. If you have a copy here. In the staff level agreement that Ghana reached with the IMF tells the country in no uncertain terms that the policy or the program that we are implementing was given to them by the government of Ghana. And guess what? Those that led our discussions, the discussions on behalf of the country, it was led by the vice president, who happens to be the head of the economic management team, amply supported by the finance minister of all, that is Kenneth Foriata, and chaired on by the governor of Bank of Ghana. So if you are giving them this program, that we're going to do domestic debt exchange program, we're going to increase taxes. Mind you, when the IMF was saying that our problems today has to do with the external shocks, they also added that there were pre-existing fiscal and debt vulnerabilities, and that we had overborrowed. At all material time, we knew the level of borrowing. What did we do with the amount of money we borrowed that we couldn't get dividend to pay those that had loaned money to the country? So the apology is not enough.
Okay.
In actual fact, the finance minister, together with the entire government, I mean, this must bring to an end the campaign of the New Patriotic Party.
This should end it.
This should end it. I mean, he has ended the campaign. He, together with Kenneth Japon and all the Kwaku Kwati, that have come to show that indeed they did not serve the people of this country, must rather end the campaign. So that we know that indeed they mean the apology. They mean what they are saying. And that, given the opportunity in 2050, they would come back and do what is right.
Okay. Alhaji, I mean, what do you make of this as well? Because I'm reading just a few messages, and Samuel Evans Ota, for example, says it's a fake apology to fool the foolish for the sake of impending elections. Is the advice and strategy prescribed to them by their South? Okay, I don't know what you mean by, I don't know which consultant this is, but, you know, the messages are replete with these same
Bella,
concerns.
you will have to forgive me for my example, but I can't think of a better one.
Okay, as long as I'm not the one in the example.
Assuming that I'm not Mr. Tabi, but I'm assuming I am your husband. And then I come home and I say to you that, Bella, forgive me. I only slept on her bed. I slept and fell on her bed. What is the use of an apology without accepting responsibility? What is the use? Yes, Honorable Amin Anta, our finance minister, it's generally a humble person. And, you know, very pleasant man. And so maybe it is in his character, in his upbringing, to want to show empathy for what we are going through. But he failed when he refused to accept responsibility and shifted the blame to external factors. Bella, there is simply nothing to gain from an apology or to gain from someone who apologizes without accepting responsibility. And you know that. When a person apologizes to you and doesn't accept responsibility for the act that he has committed or she has committed, there's no hope that there will be reformation. And so it is not an apology that you can take to the market. I think that we all know why we are where we are. This government had no business taking us to this point. The good books say it. To whom much is given, much is expected. Look, for about 6 years, from 2017 to 2022, this government squeezed from you and I tax revenue, non-oil tax revenue. And you know what that means? The taxes you and I pay, borrowing is not included. You know, the oil revenue we gain is not included. The gold revenue is not included. Tax revenue alone was about 298 billion Ghana cedis. In fact, even in the COVID year, they still squeeze about 47 billion Ghana cedis from us. Even in the COVID year. That cannot be compared to the revenue that previous governments had to manage to provide the essential things that we require in this country. It's like you can't compare. In fact, I even think that in 1 year, they have been able to earn more tax revenue than the 8 years of one government. And yet, what did they do with all the money? What did they do with all the money? Some of the answers are in the COVID audit report. How they blew the money, it's in there. Even when we had so much coming to us, even though there was an international crisis known as COVID, Ghana was blessed financially. Revenue, tax revenue, donations, grants, left, right, center. But the audit report tells us how they blew it. Just like they have blown almost every goodwill that have come their way. And so, I mean, it's not going to help them. People are suffering, Bella. It is not politics. People are suffering. The other day, I picked an Uber And it was being driven by a former branch bank manager.
He lost his job.
He lost his job. And according to him, the wife was also a banker, also lost her job, now baking to support their family. People are suffering. People are suffering. People have their investments locked up. Investments that they were counting on at the end of their active work life. So pension funds, people retirement benefits, they can't afford medications. People are suffering. And it's all because of the reckless management of the economy. Simply because some people were making money piling up loans. Whilst the country was burdened with loans, some people's businesses were flourishing as a result of that. And so the appetite to borrow could not simply be checked.
Well,
And that is why we are where we are. And so a mere apology will not cut it.
what should be done beyond the apology?
Well, what should be done is for us to kick these people out first and foremost, so that we can, if for nothing at all, Bella, and it's not a joke, we can at least send a signal to the international community that we are ready for a new wind of growth.
Let me ask Dr.
We
Free.
need that.
Let me ask Dr. Free quickly before I wrap up. Doc, what do you think should be done? Because again, when you were also making your statement, you mentioned that there was a lot that should have been done so we don't get to this point.
Well, and I'm sorry. I mean, the answer to your
apology.
question, the president himself, Nana Akufo-Addo, told us that it will require a new leader to take us out of the mess that he has put us in. He said that. So it's not a joke. We need to kick them out.
Well, Doc, so what do you suggest that this government does? They have just about 4 months before the elections. What can they do probably to restore the hope in Ghanaians?
Bella, for now, seriously, you don't know what somebody will say the medicine to give out. But the only thing is that they have to be disciplined in the expenditure for now and not add more to our debt. That is what they can do now. And as I said some time ago on your platform, election year, I doubt a little bit of such move because in election year, most of our government tends to spend a lot to make sure that they appeal to the citizens and also to ensure of their promises to to Ghanaians.
Okay.
And that is where I have my fear. But in the normal circumstances, I think they should have been disciplined now for all the expenditures, of which I doubt it. But at the end of the day, the apology would depend on Ghanaians to decide to accept
Was he even the right person to apologize? Because if you listen to Dr. Nyaonya Tamaklo, for example, he says that the right person to apologize is even the president and not the finance minister.
Yes, I agree to that assertion that because the president is the president is the main leader, and I think you remember that President Kufuor made some concession to some of the thoughts that was in opposition and coming to government. So I believe that the president could have been the best person so that Ghanaians, we talk about the value of your apology depends on the one that carries the apology. And that is where the weight and what Ghanaians will accept. So I think the president will be the best person to convey this one to all of us.
All right. I have to go, but just quickly, should the president apologize?
He will not apologize, but ordinarily he's supposed to apologize. But in terms of what we ought to do is what has been prescribed in the GTP, that we focus on productivity, production, to be able to reduce our borrowings, which will stabilize our currency. And that's why Ghanaians should consider Allah in the upcoming elections so that we do not make the mistakes we are making today.
Thank you. Alhaji, I guess you've also already stated what should be done at this point. But just a few messages quickly, Coco. So Neotic says that the apology is cool, but they won't win the votes. Dr. Amin Andam is far better than the former finance minister. The demeanor and gestures of the minister was very annoying. He was throwing his left hand to talk to Ghanaians. Another issue sending MPP to opposition is arrogance. That's Divine D. Semenyo. And apology that you still blame your recklessness on someone. Why not take responsibility and all of us do feel sometimes. That way people will respect you. Let me just go up and read a few messages on Commenda just quickly, and then we can go. You want MPP and Butterfly supporters? Okay, no, I've missed those messages. I'm sorry. But I know a number of you sent a lot of messages. Forgive me that I couldn't go back to them. But I've been speaking to Dr. Samuel Efriye. He's a political and economics analyst. He joins us via Zoom. Honorable Alassane Suini is the MP for Tamale North constituency. And Solomon Owusu, senior communicator, Movement for Change. Thank you all so much for joining us. And well, let's hope that for some reason the Commenda Sugar Factory will come back to life some way, somehow, so we can start producing our own sugar, because we've been importing sugar worth $200 million annually. That's a big problem. But step into the world of Dewa 539 for your chance to win big with Dewa Direct and Dewa Chop Money. With Dewa Direct, dial star 446 hash. Pick 1 to 39 and win 20 times, 40 times, or 400 times your stake. And win cash every evening at 7 p.m. and on Sundays at 6 p.m. Early birds love Dewa Chop Money. At 10 a.m., dial star 446 hash. Choose 1 to 39 and win 20 times, 40 times, or 400 times your stake. Now play at dewa-nla.com or dial star 446 hash. And if you need help, please call these numbers: 055-6259-249, 053-2479-879. We have Community Manifesto, and this morning, let me quickly check where Papa Ro is going today. So Papa Ro is going to come to us. Oh, I missed that message. I'm trying to list Botiano, English man from. That's where Roland Walker will be coming to us from with Community Manifesto. But also, we'll be announcing the winners for Cash Out shortly, right after this break. So if you haven't played yet, star 439 hash, select option 2 and play. We'll be right back. Again, thank you very much. Keep watching.